Well, it's a big day for the new manager of Serbia, Mladen Krstajic, appointed in November. It's his first competitive game as a manager. He did play for Serbia at the World Cup in 2006. Slavoljub Muslin, who got them to Russia, was then fired by the Serbian FA for apparently not starting or including enough of the 2015 under-20s side that won the World Cup down in New Zealand. So in came Krstajic, and then all of a sudden 5 members of that under-20 squad made it into the World Cup squad. He also switched the side to a 4-2-3-1, took the captaincy off Branislav Ivanovic and gave it to Alexander Kolarov. But let's start with the Costa Rican side. 6 starters from the friendly defeat at Ellen Road against England, 6 survivors from the 2014 World Cup quarter-final against the Netherlands. Real Madrid's Keylor Navas is in goal. 3 centre-backs, Duarte, Gonzalez and Acosta. There's no Brian Oviedo, relegated to League One with Sunderland this year. He was expected to start, so we think Francisco Calvo is at left wing-back. Marco Urania is the lone striker, with the former Fulham attacker Brian Ruiz now at Sporting Lisbon on the left-hand side. He's the captain of the side. Joel Campbell still on Arsenal's books. He is on the bench. 5 of the starting 11 are over 30 years of age. 10 of them are over 28. It suggests a loyalty to the magnificent achievement and the team that reached that quarter-final in Brazil 2014. As for Serbia, Vladimir Stojkovic is in goal. The back 4 involves 2 recent high-profile Premier League champions. Branislav Ivanovic is expected to start at right back, but he may start at centre-back. We'll have to wait and see. Age 34 now, formerly, of course, of Chelsea. Alexander Kolarov is the captain, former Manchester City player on the left-hand side of the defence. It's an all-Premier League central midfield duo of Nemanja Matic and Palace's top scorer Luka Milivojevic. Dusan Tadic out on the left, Adam Laic is on the right, and then look out for Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, SMS, highly rated Lazio attacking midfielder, who Luciano Moggi at Juventus has already suggested that the Turin side, the old lady of Italian football, have agreed a fee with Lazio for Milinkovic-Savic. Manchester United said to be interested, and Real Madrid may also have something to say before next season. And he's in behind Alexander Mitrovic, who of course helped Fulham to promotion in the Premier League this year. Malang Dedou is the referee from Senegal, a customs officer by profession. And Efenakoku, you made the interesting point a few moments ago to Mark Chapman that they're not necessarily these sides playing for second place behind Brazil. Costa Rica won a very, very difficult group, including Uruguay, England and Italy in Brazil 2014. So these sides might be aiming for better than second, would they?
Absolutely. And if Brazil were to slip up, and who knows, they've been beaten in group stage matches before. Norway beat them, I think, in 1998, Brazil, and they went on to reach the final. So it can happen. And in the World Cup, usually we get an upset, don't we, in the group stages? And who knows, it might be in Group E today.
Well, most of the pitch in shadow, and it's Serbia in all white, kicking from left to right that get us underway. Costa Rica, red shirts, blue shorts and red socks, and it's Serbia with the early possession. I'd say 5/6 of the pitch at the Samana Arena is in shadow. And here's Nemanja Matic for the first time in possession for Serbia. Wide to the right-hand side to Branislav Ivanovic, who does start at right back. The ball in towards Mitrovic is a good one, just outside the 6-yard box. Heavy touch by the Newcastle United striker, but he's won his side a corner inside the first minute.
Yeah, he's disappointed, of course, because he knows it was a good opportunity, but very early on in the game, the ball comes in from right to left. And just that first touch is a little bit heavy and it rolls out. But they do get a corner out of it.
Mitrovic stationed right by the goalkeeper. Keylor Navas, corner from the Serbia right to be taken by Adam Laic of Torino, once on trial at Manchester United. Curling out, the heads go up, but it's cleared off the line. There wasn't any great power in the header from Mitrovic. It took a deflection as well, but it was thumped clear from about a yard or two in front of the goal line. Then there's an infringement in the centre of the pitch, and Costa Rica survive the foul by Dusan Tadic. But a good start by Serbia.
Yeah, very good start from the resulting corner. There's Mitrovic just moving away from goal, about 7 or 8 yards out. Just a glancing header, actually well defended by the Costa Rica defence.
Oscar Duarte with the challenge. A hint of a push there, Effen, but nothing that would suggest perhaps a foul.
Yeah, they're both moving away from goal and leaning, aren't they? Don't expect anybody to be pulled up for that.
Lovely turn on the edge of the penalty area, and now there's a chance here for Costa Rica going into the penalty area, and the goalkeeper Stojkovic had to come out to concede the corner. It was an excellent move by Costa Rica, and Marco Urania of Los Angeles FC saw the whites of the goalkeeper's eyes from an angle, got in behind Alexander Kolarov and a tight angle, but he spread himself well, the goalkeeper. But Costa Rica have a corner, and it's an end-to-end start to this Group E game in Samara. All the centre-backs are up. 4 have been selected by Costa Rica. Calvo out at wing-back, but it's an easy header clear by the zonally marked Mitrovic at the near post corner of the 6-yard box. Out on the right-hand side, another cross comes in. Headed clear once again by that Serbia back line. They're back in number. Now it's on the left for Costa Rica. Then the cross comes into the back post and a header straight at the goalkeeper, Stojkovic, and he does his trademark kiss of the ball. It was Gonzalez forward who'd stayed forward from the corner kick, who got a bullet header in but stayed straight at the goalkeeper. And here comes Serbia looking to respond. End-to-end stuff.
Yeah, great start from both sides. Super ball in actually, and Gonzalez gets a nice firm header onto this. He's about 12 yards out. That head, as you said, it's got enough pace on it, but straight at the goalkeeper and comfortable enough for Stojkovic.
He climbed above Tosic, the centre-back there, Giancarlo Gonzalez, who plays for Bologna in Italy. He started all 5 games at the 2014 World Cup. He actually made the BBC pundits' team of the tournament in Brazil. Rio Ferdinand described him as outstanding. Spent the last 4 seasons in Italy. First with Palermo, now with Bologna. Costa Rica have a throw-in on their left-hand side, just inside the Serbia half.
What we do get, Arlo, in some of these opening group matches is a really feverish start to the game when players are so excited. You know, they've waited weeks and years sometimes to perform at this level, even if it's your second or third time round. Then a little bit of freshness soon sort of dissipates, and temperature. It's another warm day today in Russia, although the pitch at the moment is almost completely shaded.
Well, here's a first touch for Tadic on that right-hand side for Serbia, faced by 2 defenders, one of which is Fernando Calvo, and he concedes a second corner to Serbia.
The guy they like to see on the ball as much as they can. They finish the season quite strongly for Southampton, with big goals to help them maintain their Premier League status.
He's moved wider for the national team, Dusan Tadic, to accommodate Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. Well, Mitrovic got his head to the previous corner, no great power in it. He's been marked again by Giancarlo Gonzalez. Plenty of rough and tumble in that penalty area. The referee might be having a word as he did before the last corner, but Leitch has his right arm outstretched. He chips it to the back post. It's over everybody. And there's a tussle for the ball just outside that Costa Rican penalty area and a foul by Kolarov, and he admits to his sin, and I think he just wanted to convince the referee not to take any further action other than a free kick in that situation. Alexander Kolarov, formerly of Manchester City, a champion twice at the Etihad, and now the captain of his national team.
There's a clever fouler, he's Kolarov, making sure that if he's not able to get the ball and pump it back into the area, that Costa Rica certainly will not hit his side on the break.
On ball forward by Costa Rica towards the edge of that Serbian penalty area, and Urania is causing some trouble for those centre-backs of Serbia. This time it was Nikola Milenkovic who was harried into a clearance. He's only 20 years of age. He's played right-back mainly for Fiorentina this season. Only 3 international caps before today. Mladen Krstajic, the coach, has called the new Vidic. He says he's delighted to be compared to a national hero, Nemanja Vidic, but he's still very early in his international career. I've wondered whether Ivanovic might play at centre-back today, with Milenkovic out at right-back as he was for Fiorentina, but it's the 34-year-old old stager who is in that right-back role for the Serbians today.
Yes, we did talk about that, didn't we? Wondering whether Branislav Ivanovic may be exposed due to his lack of pace in recent campaigns. That comparison to Nemanja Vidic is pretty high, which I think is one of the best defenders I've seen in the Premier League.
Gambo with the ball over the top towards Urania, who was surrounded by 2 or both centre-backs for Serbia. The ball through to Stojkovic, the goalkeeper, who plays for Partizan, a product of the Red Star Belgrade system, who now plays for their bitter rivals in Belgrade. And it was Red Star Belgrade fans who once stormed the Serbia team coach after an away game and tried to attack him, and in the end he was protected by two Serbia teammates who played for Red Star. And I think he owed him a beer or two after that. Here comes Serbia through the middle, just into the Costa Rica half. Milinkovic-Savic with a nice piece of skill to evade one defender. It's out on the left through Kolarov. He'll have a low drive and it flashes across goal. Dusan Tadic the closest to it at the far post. And it's behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, I don't think he's actually going for goal, Alexander Kolarov. He's 10 yards outside the box from left to right, just smashes the ball across the face. Usual great technique, the ball is low, just wanted one of his teammates. Yeah, he's just pointing to a couple of them just to make that run across the face of the goalkeeper.
Scored twice in qualifying, Alexander Kolarov, including a late winner in Dublin against the Republic of Ireland. Player, of course, who played in the semi-finals of the Champions League this season with his new club Roma. He thinks they can do something at this World Cup. He says if we play to our potential, if we're honest amongst ourselves, and there seems to be an excellent team spirit amongst the Serbians, he says we can do something at this World Cup finals. So confidence is high.
They're a good side. They've got a nice individual ability on the ball. Tadic and Milinkovic-Savic in particular, those two guys have got a bit of a presence, a bit of a bully if you like. Mitrovic, who I think he will serve the team well if he gets good service, and when defensively they're under pressure, he'll be good out ball for them.
Is Arena for Costa Rica. Wide it goes to Venegas, and he flicks it goalwards towards Arena. It bounced back off Branislav Ivanovic, and Venegas now on the left-hand side. Right-footed ball inside the penalty area, but that's he's got his angles wrong, and it's behind for a goal kick. But promise once again an attack for Costa Rica. Their coach, with his hands deep in his pockets and a smart blue suit on the sideline, is Oscar Ramirez, 53 years of age. He was originally appointed as the assistant to a familiar name to Premier League fans and Derby County fans, Paulo Wanchop, in 2016. But Paulo didn't last too long in the job. At an under-23s game in Panama, he was caught on camera punching a steward. So he made way, and it was his assistant Oscar Ramirez who took over. Played for Costa Rica at the 1990 World Cup. In fact, an accomplished player for the national team, won 75 caps. Here's Matic for Serbia, who have just slowed the game down somewhat. Matic again, Manchester United.
They are very good at doing that as well. Finally they talked about how good they are offensively when they see enough of the ball. Good game management in the middle of the park. Matic and Milivojevic of Crystal Palace, Matic of Man United, of course. Those two guys can disrupt many a good opposition midfield and attack, if you like. So they'll provide good support to the back four.
Kolarov again, long ball over the top, looking for Mitrovic and Milinkovic-Savic, but far too straight and long. And Keylor Navas, who's just won his third Champions League title with Real Madrid, will thump the ball clear into the sunshine on the far side of the Samara Arena. 0-0 here, approaching the 10-minute mark. Costa Rica against Serbia, beginning their World Cup campaigns. Serbia have lost 6 of their last 7 in the World Cup finals. That one victory was against Germany in 2010.
Ambition, although I think that is one of the things that can hold back lots of these Balkan sides. These nations that are split up over the year, Serbia and Croatia in particular. Whether they really believe and have the confidence to go forward and really attack some of the teams later on in the tournament if they progress.
Johan Venegas running here at Ivanovic, and Ivanovic stands firm, as we've seen for his entire career, the 34-year-old. And it's a Costa Rica ball. Venegas with a positive start. He scored against Northern Ireland in a friendly on June the 3rd. He plays his football for Minnesota United under Adrian Heath in Major League Soccer. So does this man, Francisco Calvo.
They should be looking to try and isolate Ivanovic as well as much as they can. Tadic will not want to come back and get involved in too much defensive work. So that pressure will and responsibility of the midfield, in particular Matic and Milivojevic on this right side for the Serbian midfield to come and help the veteran.
Venegas has won a corner off Ivanovic this time. And it's promise here for Costa Rica. The centre-backs are forward again. In their pristine red shirts, taken short this time by Guzman. He gets the return, chips it towards the back post. There's a free header there, and it's sent over the crossbar by Giancarlo Gonzalez. Well, he's had 2 opportunities from set pieces. This was a corner taken short, and there was no one anywhere near him, Ethan.
That's a great chance. Superb opportunity. The ball just drifted in by Guzman, and he's moving backwards. He's only 5 yards out. Goalkeeper Stojkovic can't come to get the ball. It's a terrible header. That ends up about 6 feet over the crossbar. Completely unchallenged, and it should be 1-0.
I wonder if he got a shout from his teammate, the midfielder Celso Borges, who was coming in behind him, who immediately put his face in his hands. It would have been a free header for him too at the back post, but that is a concern for Serbia, and a real fillip and encouragement from set pieces for Costa Rica. Gonzalez this time
absolutely
has
golden.
fluffed his lines, hasn't he? The first chance he had was more difficult, and it was a better header, albeit straight down the goalkeeper's throat, but that one...
He just mistimed his jump as well. He was almost on the way down as he was heading the ball. The technique wasn't great either, for that ball still to be rising as it heads over the crossbar when you are unchallenged. It's a huge error.
Ivanovic with a throw in to Serbia, a yard or so inside the Costa Rica half on the right-hand side. Now it's Milinkovic-Savic, lovely ball square, it goes to Mitrovic, takes the shot, it took a deflection, and that made it step up and stand up quite easily there for Navas. It could have missed, wrong-footed him and sent it into the back of the net, and he's relieved to see the power and the sting taken off it, and it was an easy save in the end. And that's wonderful distribution by the goalkeeper's right foot to Calvo. Now it's with Venegas on the left-hand side for Costa Rica, tries the angled ball back towards his teammate Calvo. Here's Brian Ruiz, formerly of Fulham. Now David Guzman of the Portland Timbers in Major League Soccer. The flick over the top, acrobatic defending by the tall Milenkovic. And now Serbia have a free kick 10 yards outside their own penalty area for the foul on Luka Milivojevic.
Most of their good stuff and their players actually coming down the left side is Costa Rica. And they are looking to get Arena involved in the play as soon as they can. He's not only able to put his body into the Serbian centre-half so far, he seems to be trying to isolate as well Milenkovic, but he's also willing to get behind him. He's once or twice almost got in, he's been sort of wrestled back in. I feel like I said, we've just about managed to keep him at bay so far.
Costa Rica's form coming in to this World Cup, not impressive at all. They lost 5 of their 7 games since securing qualification. That's a poor giveaway by Nemanja Matic, who's given it straight to Venegas just inside the centre circle. Rolls it to Ruiz, looking for Arena down the centre, and it's in the end is cleared by Milenkovic under pressure from Arena.
Only just.
Stojkovic came off his line, didn't he?
Yeah.
He had to deal with that, the centre-back, in the end.
Yeah, just about. Once again, Arena's finally... He's got to get the two centre-halves a little bit closer. But if one is sort of beaten, the other one can cover. Arena's proven to be a handful.
All that came from a poor ball in the midfield from Nemanja Matic, and we don't see that too often. Serbia in the attack now. Here's Mitrovic on the edge of the penalty area. Dusan Tadic battling for possession. And it's hooked clear by Costa Rica, only as far as Milivojevic, who takes the ball back from Ivanovic inside the Costa Rican half. Milinkovic-Savic with a lovely roll of the ball to turn away from Guzman. And the chip towards the back post, and Mitrovic is headed clear by Costa. Now it's Matic again, space on the right-hand side here for Dusan Tadic. He'll cross in, or feign to cross in with his left foot, and he's got the overlap from Ivanovic. He cuts back onto his right foot. The low cross goes in. Desperate defending by Costa Rica, and they get the ball clear. It was a wonderful piece of defending by Oscar Duarte, because that was dangerous. And then there's a push by Arena in the other penalty area, the Serbian penalty area, and a free kick to the side in all white. Arena complaining to the assistant referee on that far side, but I don't think there's too much doubt about that decision. But that's a chance for Serbia.
Yeah, it's great play from Ivanovic. He cuts inside and then from the right side of the penalty area, gets past Calvo, and then just side foots the ball with power across the face of the goal, 6-yard box. But they've only got one white shirt, and it's Mitrovic who's not able. It's actually outcrowded. It was 4 or 5 to 1.
Keylor Navas, who did some good work as well. And there's a chip to the back post with the right foot. The header comes in. It was Tadic's cross towards Mitrovic. Well defended again in the air by Costa Rica, but Mitrovic is definitely a target here for Serbia. Lots of hanging balls and crosses going into the penalty area to utilise his aerial ability. Costa Rica bring it clear into the Serbia half of play. 15 minutes on the clock. Costa Rica 0, Serbia 0 in Samara, and the start of another busy day here on 5 Live at the World Cup. Mexico against Germany kicks off at 4 o'clock, and then at 7 the favourites Brazil in this group against Switzerland in Rostov. 7 o'clock kick-off there on 5 Live, of course. A chip forward towards the edge of the penalty area in Urania, and it's Ivanovic who stoops to head it clear, and now Kolarov can bring it clear on that left-hand side, just into shadow, then he wanders into the sunlight. And that far touchline, chipped forward, it's a loose ball, and this will be easy for Keylor Navas, who can get Costa Rica started again. But Costa Rica did win in Scotland in March. They beat Northern Ireland 3 weeks ago, but after leading Costa Rica for the World Cup, they lost 2-0 at Ellen Road against England, of course. That wonder goal by Marcus Rashford got things started for Gareth Southgate's men, and then they were very poor. Despite taking the lead against Belgium, they lost by 4-1. But the memories of 2014 for Los Chicos are still fresh, and they won that group remarkably, that contained England, Italy and Uruguay. They beat the Uruguayans 3-1 first up. In fact, they'd won 3 of their 4 previous World Cup openers. When they beat Italy 1-0, then a 0-0 draw against England. They beat Greece on penalties after a 1-1 draw in the round of 16, and then a 0-0 against the Netherlands, but they lost on penalties. Tim Krul saving 2 of the Costa Rican spot kicks, but that was a magnificent achievement to get to the last 8 by the Costa Ricans. Serbia have a free kick halfway inside the Costa Rican half of play, just towards the right-hand side.
It shows you have confidence at the moment so far from Costa Rica, despite their rocky sort of approach, if you like, to the World Cup. It's a good game, actually, although, isn't it?
It is.
A real game of football.
Absolutely.
20 minutes, nearly 18 minutes played.
The referee, Malang Dedu, is just wandering over to have a word with David Guzman, just imploring him to get 10 yards back. Dusan Tadic, hands on his hips. The Costa Rican defensive line is 2 yards outside the penalty area. They trip towards the back post. The heads go up. One of them is Ivanovic, and he might get another opportunity. It was Nemanja Matic who also got his head, or almost got his head to it. But at the moment, the Costa Ricans are standing firm under this aerial bombardment.
They're not afraid to put the ball into the box, Serbia. They've got some big athletes. They're competitive. Willing to throw themselves towards the ball.
I wonder if this is why Oscar Ramirez favoured Francisco Calvo, who is a centre-back at wing-back, instead of Brian Oviedo, sensing the aerial threat that Serbia possess. To have 4 centre-backs out there means they can deal with it slightly easier, I guess.
Yeah, certainly, one of those things that the coaches will take into account. Horses for courses, isn't it? Oviedo and the likes of Joel Campbell may be much more beneficial and further down the tournament. The next 2 group games, of course, and who knows if they will to get further. But you have a squad of 23, and just blindly have to stick with the same 11 you feel for every single game. Different opposition will provide different problems.
Tadic on the right-hand side, cuts back on his left foot, then back on his right, then he beats himself, loses possession, then wins it back, curls a left-footed cross towards the back post, headed clear by Christian Gamboa of Celtic. Milivojevic tidies things up, and here comes Serbia again, just inside their own half of play through Dusko Tosic, the left-footed centre-back who plays his club football for Besiktas. Patient build-up here by the Serbians. Here's Tadic again, seeing plenty of the ball on the Serbian right. Milivojevic, top scorer in the Premier League for Crystal Palace this past season. Lovely ball out to the right-hand side. It finds its way back to Kolarov. Now Nemanja Matic. Square across the halfway line it goes to Milinkovic. Now Ivanovic again, and here's an angled ball, a curling ball towards the penalty area, looking for Mitrovic, but it was Costa who leapt highest once again to get the ball clear. And now what can Costa Rica do with a potential counter-attack here? Brian Ruiz rolls it out to the right-hand side to Gamboa. Ruiz gets it back in a little bit of space in the midfield, but he turns back. And it's Guzman again, and his patience after 20 minutes here in the build-up by Costa Rica. 0-0 against Serbia here at the World Cup Russia 2018. Milinkovic-Savic looking to get involved in the play. He's been peripheral so far. Dusan Tadic with another nice turn. Down the right-hand side he goes, looking for Mitrovic. It's too far in front of him and Giancarlo Gonzalez, who's had the 2 best chances so far, both with his head. Rolls the ball back to his goalkeeper. It's a fine turn by Borjas in the centre of the field. Long ball forward looking for Venegas on the left-hand side is a good one. He brings it down. He fancies a run here at Ivanovic. Ball in field towards Ruiz. He's dispossessed, and that was a heavy challenge coming in from Calvo. He might be lucky to get away with that. In fact, he doesn't. It's a yellow card, the first one of the day, brandished by Dedu on Calvo, who went in very hard.
Yeah, he's 5 yards outside the Serbian penalty area. Okay, the ball is broken down. Venegas decided not to take on Ivanovic. Calvo just throws himself. Tadic, that's an ugly challenge. Leaving the ground like that. 2 feet, not quite 2 feet in the air, but when you lean forward like that, or you lunge in and you don't get the ball, minimum yellow, which is what he got.
Mladen Krstajić wasn't happy with the challenge. The Serbia coach, Dusan Tadic, is receiving attention now. He's got an ice pack on that left ankle, a bit of spray going on there as well.
He plays in England, he would have received a lot worse than that. He'll be fine.
Well, I wonder if the challenge was born of a little bit of frustration, because he's been having a few runs at Calvo, and that was his retort. And it's a free kick to Serbia deep in their own half, level with the edge of their own penalty area, and Tadic is back on his feet. He'll have to go off to come back on again. It's Vladimir Stojkovic, the goalkeeper, who may take this free kick. Had 2 spells in English football, one with Wigan and one with Nottingham Forest. Both lasted less than a year. Nemanja Matic peering high up to the big screens here at the Samara Arena, which holds 44,000, a futuristic space-age looking stadium, as you would expect in the home of the old Soviet aerospace industry. It's where Yuri Gagarin's Vostok 1 rocket was built that sent the first man into space in 1961, but it was a construction dogged by soaring costs. It has a spectacular domed roof. In fact, FIFA said as recently as March that a huge amount of work has to be done. The pitch wasn't even laid at that stage. Didn't host its first game until April the 28th, but it's looking in fine form today. Home of a Russian second division side, Krylia Sovetov. So they've got themselves a nice new home. Kolarov with the long ball forward once again for Serbia towards Mitrovic, but it's again a good climb at the back by Oscar Duarte, who Steve Crossan was talking about before the game. Born in Nicaragua, he regards himself as being a dual national, and the fans in Katina, his home town just over the Nicaraguan border, will all be supporting Costa Rica in the bars and pubs of that town today. Ball in through towards Milinkovic-Savic, was calling for it outside the 6-yard box, but the cross is too far for everybody, and Costa Rica can bring the ball clear.
Football has a habit of bringing nations together. Can do it, can't even, albeit temporarily sometimes. So that's a great story for Central America.
Yeah, it is rare. The hand of friendship is not often extended between Costa Rica and Nicaragua, apparently, so that's a sign of progress. Matic. It's a square ball as Serbia played across the back. Here's Ivanovic, who's earning his 104th cap today, so he's the most capped Serbian international of all time, breaking Dejan Stankovic's record. He made his international debut back in 2006, and I think most around the world were rubbing their eyes when they saw the spectacular overhead kick he managed to stick in the Bolivian net in their final warm-up game, a 5-1 win, before arriving in Russia. Fabulous goal by Branislav Ivanovic, who's put his head down and got on with things despite suffering the ignominy of having the captaincy stripped off him and awarded to Alexander Kolarov.
Yeah, that would be a blow to a guy with so many years of experience and caps. Indeed, but he seems to have got on with the job, and the coach has not held anything personally against him, still featuring. And always good value for a goal as well, particularly from set pieces.
Scored some important goals in his Chelsea career, didn't he? Throw into Serbia on the left-hand side in the only portion of the pitch now in sunlight, and it's a pensive-looking Serbian coach, Krstajić, hands in his pocket, deep blue suit, no tie, open collared shirt, who's just pacing around the technical area nervously. Lovely turn by Tadic, and possibilities here for Serbia. The cross came in from Mitrovic, but it was behind everybody, and Costa Rica able to get the ball clear. Another long ball into the penalty area. Well, Mitrovic has brought that down brilliantly, but then he's surrounded by red shirts, and they get the ball clear this time through Giancarlo Gonzalez, and he finds his teammate Venegas. What can Costa Rica do again on the counter-attack? It appears to be their best possibility of creating something other than set pieces.
Yeah, great play from Mitrovic. That ball is just hoiked up into the sky, lands around about the penalty spot, shrugs off. Gonzalez controls the ball, he is able to turn, not able to get his shot in. 2 or 3 red shirts from Costa Rica once again crowded now. He's looked lively, so certainly look hungry for the job today. Just reaching a point actually, Arlen, a 25-26 minute mark where that initial rush of adrenaline just starts to wear off. The players want to take breath, and the pace is just slowed noticeably in the last 2 minutes or so. Both teams, it seems, happy now to we play a slightly more cagey game, at least maybe running up to half-time.
Did you watch all 4 games yesterday, Evan?
I recorded 2, I must admit. It's tiring, isn't it?
I've almost forgotten what my life was like before Thursday. One ball forward, the flag stays down. Milinkovic-Savic was clean through. Everyone now looking at the assistant referee. It was a left-footed effort, no power in it, and Keylor Navas was able to save down to his left-hand side.
Oh, what a ball from who else but Kolarov. Inside out from left to right, diagonal ball. Milinkovic-Savic takes it round about the penalty spot, and he almost flicks his shot. No power at all. He's off balance. Ball is not quite out in front of his feet. Navas on the 6-yard line just falls on it. Great opportunity, not taken.
It would have been interesting, Efren, had that gone in. It would have been reviewed, and then we would have seen VAR and the offside decision, which would have been definitive either way. And of course, Pierluigi Collina, who's in charge of the referees at the World Cup, has told his assistants not to flag in marginal offsides and to let the VAR do the heavy lifting. But the problem is, in that situation, as I see it, if Keylor Navas had saved that, and it wasn't a goal, so therefore it wouldn't have been reviewed, and he put it behind for a corner, Serbia could then, if Milinkovic-Savic was offside, could still then have scored from the subsequent corner. That, to me, is one of the blind spots, potentially, of this VAR system. We haven't seen a situation that exposes it yet.
Yes, it is, and I agree with you 100%, and also is that abdication of responsibility, that I don't like, and we get, as we see in so many other sports, particularly American football, and sometimes in a rugby league, rugby union in the UK, where referees are just scared to make that decision, aren't they?
Wonderfully weighted ball down the right-hand side by Ivanovic towards Tadic. He's double teamed over there. It's Calvo who is the defender now. He's twisting and turning, left-footed cross towards Mitrovic at the back post. Excellent climb by Gamboa, the right wing-back of Celtic, to get the header clear. Only as far as Kolarov. He goes back to Tosic. Kolarov still available on the left touchline. Tosic turns back, faces his own goal, and now plays the square ball to Milivojevic.
We have it, so there's no going back now, I would imagine, with their VAR, but I certainly don't want to reach a stage in the next, 2 World Cup cycles where every single challenge and incident happens on the field is open to be reviewed.
Well, we haven't seen a definitive replay ourselves yet on that Milinkovic-Savic potential offside after the chance. So it may be that he was on, and it was a perfectly legitimate opportunity, and he'll be kicking himself at the finish, which lacked conviction, to say the least. It's only his 5th international cap, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. It was the Lazio sporting director, Iglitare, who said towards the end of the season that he's worth over 100 million euros. I've mentioned that Luciano Moggi of Juventus has claimed that Juve have agreed a fee. He hasn't mentioned what that is. Milinkovic-Savic, for his part, says, I'll decide after the World Cup where I go, and Jose Mourinho may be interested in that decision. They're involved, perhaps, in the bidding process as well.
Don't see him at Man United, that's for sure. Jose Mourinho doesn't have a great track record of being able to deal with young players, or indeed encouraging them and improving them during the course of the season or seasons. So I would rule out Man United. Juventus, yes. Much less upheaval, and much more likely that he'll be lifting a trophy at the end of the season, and the integration into their first team, I think, will just be that little bit easier.
Half an hour gone here in Samara. Costa Rica 0, Serbia 0. Both sides with chances, plenty of attacking intent. As yet, no goals. Tadic rolls it infield. Yeah, it's picked up again, hasn't it, after that lull for a few moments. Serbia happy to keep the ball at the back at the moment, though.
Marks contrast to a lack of tempo and quality on show in the Croatia-Nigeria game last night.
Tadic turns back. Here's Milinkovic-Savic on the edge of the penalty area, now runs into the penalty area. He drops it out to the side of the area on the right to Tadic. That's a good challenge in on him, and then he commits the foul, Dusan Tadic, partly out of frustration. But between them, Tadic and Milinkovic-Savic are seeing more of the ball and creating more space in dangerous areas. It was a foul by Tadic on Venegas. Yes, your old team, you went to the 94 World Cup with Nigeria, perhaps second to Saudi Arabia with the poorest performance in the World Cup so far. Has that been too harsh?
I wouldn't say so. No, it was a poor performance considering the expectation level of the Nigerian public. But of course you have to balance that with the true quality of the squad. So that's something that I always look at with a more professional point of view. Just disappointed that we weren't able to put up much of a fight. And I think 2 shots on target, both of those quite tame. So all in all, it wasn't a good evening for the Super Eagles.
Free kick was sent long towards the edge of that Serbia penalty area. It was headed half clear by Ivanovic, and now Kolarov has the ball on the left-hand side, put under some pressure by Brian Ruiz, the captain of Costa Rica. Milivojevic, who scored 10 Premier League goals for Crystal Palace, 7 of them from the penalty spot, out to the right-hand side to Ivanovic of Zenit St. Petersburg. That's a deep-looking cross. It's going to sail over everybody, and Keylor Navas watches it behind for a goal kick, and an apology, a right hand of an apology from Branislav Ivanovic, who's seeing a lot of the ball on that right-hand side so far for the Serbians.
Yeah, a lot of play has been lopsided actually on this near side of the field. Left side for Costa Rica and right side for Serbia so far. Team in white, Serbia, they have that greater control and mastery of the football, if you like. And it talks about ambition, that determination and belief. Really, do they really want to push on and try and get that extra gear? And if they do, of course, they could create opportunities. Of course, they leave themselves open to the counter-attack. Costa Rica have shown, certainly in the last World Cup, that they are a very good side and they are able to counter swiftly. Not particularly quick runners or strong runners, but they do move the ball quite impressively, and I've got a feeling that they can do that as well in this World Cup.
Serbia have a throw on their right-hand side, just 10 yards inside their own penalty area, but Venegas has took a ball to the midriff, shall we say, from Branislav Ivanovic, and he gets up limping, an exhale of breath, but he appears to be okay to continue, and the throw will be taken here by Ivanovic, who's got his thumbs raised to his teammates. Throw taken infield towards Milinkovic-Savic. It's hooked forward by Milivojevic, and an untidy looking clearance by Johnny Acosta. And the ball out of play, and Serbia have a throw once again exactly on the halfway line. The entire pitch now in shadow. Serbia won their opening game in the qualifying group. They finished top of it ahead of the Republic of Ireland, Wales and Austria. They won their final game against Moldova to clinch qualification. They drew both times against Wales, 1 each. It's their 12th World Cup in total. They have Yugoslavia's World Cup history and international football history, and also Serbia-Montenegro's records as well. They qualified as a joint nation for a previous World Cup.
Is there anyone else they'd like to take?
Well, the Yugoslavian record isn't too bad. 2 fourth-place finishes, but they haven't qualified for the knockout stages for a while now. 1930, 1962, they finished in 4th place. Just a bit of a lull in the action at the moment, and it's another throw-in on the right-hand side to Ivanovic, and he can only find the red shirt of Guzman.
New history as always to be made, and it's a group of players that certainly could surprise 1 or 2.
Here's Mitrovic, looks suspiciously like a handball by Milinkovic-Savic, not given. Heavy challenge coming in from Venegas on Tadic, who shields the ball magnificently, turns away from Venegas, and has he got himself a free kick down by the corner flag? Yes, he has.
Venegas just got too close, and Tadic cleverly, with that cultured left foot of his, just dragged the ball around and then got goal side of Venegas and had no option in the end to foul him. Referee's assistant is right there, some yard away. I don't think he actually got for a foul.
Well, the experienced midfielder Celso Borges was not happy from Deportivo La Coruña. He gave the assistant on the near side an earful, but just seen a replay of the potential handball from Milinkovic-Savic in the lead up to that, and I think he might be a little fortunate to get away with it, but he's on the Serbian right, just in from the byline. Kolarov will whip it in left-footed to the near post. It's a good one, a diving Keylor Navas with both fists gets it away and gets some good distance on that clearance as well, 15 yards outside of the Costa Rica penalty area. The bodies go flying in. There's a Serbian on the floor and a Costa Rican on the floor as well.
Must be a head injury that the referees stopped play for.
Well, it's Tosic on the floor for Serbia, and he clashed with Johnny Acosta, 2 big centre-backs going head-to-head, and I think some elbows were involved, not to the head, but to the midriff of both players, and we're just seeing a replay of the Keylor Navas punch, which was excellent. Not only did he get there, he wasn't under particular pressure, but he got real distance on it to get it out of the danger zone.
It's typical Navas, he takes no chances, and he to be honest, he really does do that well for Real Madrid. It's a guy who's got a trophy-laden cabinet at home right now, isn't he? And rumours abound that he's about to be replaced
by Alisson, potentially,
of Roma,
but he says he'll stay regardless with Real Madrid. It may not be his choice, of course, Evan.
Well, certainly if Alisson was signed, you'd imagine that he would become backup, but players don't leave Real Madrid easily, do they?
They don't. The 2014 World Cup was excellent for Navas. He was a Levante player at that point. Only conceded 2 goals in 5 games. He saved 21 of the 23 shots he saved, and then got himself the big move to Real Madrid. And here he is, 3 Champions Leagues and 1 La Liga later.
It's a hefty challenge. I've seen the replay again, and the elbow of Tosic just comes into the midriff stroke back of Costa. It's a pretty tough Costa, he doesn't stay down unless he's hurt.
And he landed awkwardly after that, didn't he? His face was grimacing before he hit the floor. I think he knew what was coming. Both players back on their feet, and it's a very sporting Giancarlo Gonzalez after the drop ball to just thump the ball all the way downfield to the Serbia goalkeeper Stojkovic. Costa back on the field, and so too Dusko Tosic of Besiktas. Barely a spare seat to be had in the Samara Arena. It's a good atmosphere. Scoreless so far after 37 minutes between Costa Rica and Serbia. Both defences have been tested. Both goalkeepers have had work to do. And it's Costa Rica who have a throw-in on the left-hand side, won by Venegas. And they will be encouraged by their performance so far. Marco Aurenia is the lone front man who had surgery at the end of April to repair broken bones in his face after a nasty clash playing for LAFC, as they call it in America, the expansion franchise, the new team in Los Angeles, playing against the Seattle Sounders. But he's recovered in time to lead the line. Joel Campbell, still on Arsenal's books, is on the bench. Hook clear from the edge of his own penalty area by Alexander Kolarov, high into the sky. It drops for Borges. He heads it to the right-hand side to Gamboa. Here come Costa Rica. Borges again. Ruiz. Patient build-up by the Central Americans, but then it breaks down, but it's a slip by Tosic. And here's Aurenia on the edge of the area. It's opened up for him, left-footed effort, and it was always rising. Nice piece of skill to get the ball out of his feet onto his left foot, but the shot never troubled the goalkeeper and was always rising over the crossbar.
A mistake from Tosic. He actually goes to ground. I wonder if he's still feeling the effects of that challenge a few moments ago. Ball lands to Aurenia, and he cleverly turns Serbian player on the edge of the box. Well, he just doesn't connect well enough with that left foot shot. Just seems to be off balance and falling away, using his footing with his right foot, and harmlessly over the crossbar.
Didn't start a game in 2014, Marco Aurenia, but he did score off the bench against Uruguay and managed 4 goals in qualifying, which earned Costa Rica 5 vital points. And he's battling for possession again, and he forces Tosic to slide and play the ball back to Stojkovic, the goalkeeper. His clearance intercepted immediately by Calvo. Venegas with the ball down the line towards the advancing Calvo, and it's Branislav Ivanovic who has to take action, going to ground and conceding the corner kick on Costa Rica's left-hand side.
Ivanovic is the weak link defensively, I think, for Serbia, because he's so reluctant to engage these days. Of course, when you reach 33, you've got so many miles on the clock. A bit more judicious the way you go about your challenges. Talks about isolation if they can do, Venegas in particular. It's not happened so far.
Guzman with the right-footed in-swinging corner towards the edge of the 6-yard box, but it's once again Alexander Mitrovic who's back there in that zonal position, who nods the ball clear and actually finds his teammate Dusan Tadic as well, and he's won Serbia a throw-in on the right-hand side. Marco Aurenia with the challenge, so Serbia defending that one effectively.
Long way back, Aurenia coming to the halfway line to chase down that clearance from Serbia after a Costa Rican corner.
But I mentioned Costa Rican qualifying from the CONCACAF region, Effen, and 6 teams go through eventually to what they call the Hex. So you play 10 games, 5 of the teams home and away. The top 3 of those 6 qualify automatically, and the 4th place team, which was Honduras, going to a playoff, they lost to Peru. And the United States, who qualified for every World Cup final since 1990, contrived to finish 5th, which is not easy to do against the opposition that they face. So they miss out for the first time since 1990. A lot of navel gazing going on in football circles in the United States. Costa Rica finished 2nd behind Mexico. They only won 4 of their 10 games, but they only lost 2 and only conceded 8 goals. And they clinched it with a game to spare.
It's a huge blow for US soccer, wasn't it, not qualifying?
Jürgen Klinsmann in charge for most of that qualification campaign, but they blew it on the final day against an under-strength Trinidad and Tobago's side after they needed a draw to qualify for the World Cup, and they lost by 2-1. It was a dreadful performance, and the United States stay at home. Here's Costa Rica. Bringing the ball forward is Oscar Duarte, who plays for Espanyol. Left-hand side to Calvo, Venegas. Calvo's continued his run, corner of the penalty area, inside of one defender, right-footed effort, and he just drags it wide. He was diving to his right there, Stojkovic, but I think he always believed that ball was going wide, but bright build-up play and a decent effort for Costa Rica.
A lovely link-up play there, best of the match actually, once again from the left side. And Calvo just swings the ball with his right foot. It's weaker foot as well. In the end, it's well clear of that post, just inside the line of that 18-yard area, if you like, 3 or 4 yards outside the box. Didn't trouble the goalkeeper. Stojkovic is calling for calm for his defence. They don't like working goalkeepers, do they? They're offended actually when the ball gets anywhere near the area. To blame it. Being untroubled really, a couple of opportunities early on for Gonzalez. One straight into his midriff, the goalkeeper, and one headed tameless honestly over the bar.
42 minutes gone in Samara, 0-0 between Costa Rica and Serbia here on 5 Live, and it's Serbia into the attack just before the break. Milivojevic to the right hand side, and Ivanovic, and he's closed down by Venegas. First time ball by Milivojevic. The overhead kick is spectacular by Milinkovic-Savic. Now, was he offside? Yes, the flag belatedly does go up. That was spectacular, but it wouldn't have counted. Milinkovic-Savic was offside, but was he?
Wasn't, nowhere near offside.
So it would have counted.
Yeah.
On VAR, that would have been overturned. It was an excellent save by Navas in the end.
It was a good save, acrobatic overhead. It's 12 yards out. Super connection, just a little bit too close to the goalkeeper. Navas was able to get down smartly, has to be said. Made a good save.
And those pristine white football boots for Milinkovic-Savic, and a gold tick. We've just seen them flying through the air and connecting beautifully with that overhead kick. So had it gone in and the flag was up, it would have gone to VAR, and that would have been overturned, the decision, and the goal would have stood.
He has some talent, no doubt about it, Milinkovic-Savic, and confidence to go with it. Such tender years.
Known as the Sergeant at Lazio. You can shorten his name to SMS, and I think he was sending a message there to the Costa Rican backline. What do you think, Ethan?
A very firm message.
There's no more where that came from.
Do not give me too much time and space. I will hurt you. He's not been involved in too much of the general link-up play. 1 or 2 nice touches. On a consistent basis, we've not seen a lot of him we would like to. Of course, you need to have a lot more control of the ball, you know, for your star players to shine. He's not at the level yet, maybe. Who knows whether he'll reach it where he can really take charge of football matches. That position in the game is reserved for the all-time greats, I feel. And in terms of being a playmaker, there's actually nobody right now, I feel, who's at that level. Messi and Ronaldo are different types of superstars. They're a goal-scoring machine, and they're talking about Zidane and Platini and Zico.
Final minute of the first half.
Batista.
It's still 0-0. Costa Rica 0, Serbia 0 here on 5 Live. We'll be back with Mark Chapman during the half-time interval. The first, of course, of 3 games, as Serbia have a free kick just inside the Costa Rica half. And I think the referee's message there to Borges is no more of that. He virtually pulled Matic's shorts down there. You often see yellow cards given for that. We'll have 2 minutes added on at the end of this first half. Here's Milivojevic, turns away from trouble and feeds the ball out to the right-hand side, and Ivanovic, another long cross, is overhit again by Ivanovic, and in the end Mitrovic has fouled his opposite number, Giancarlo Gonzalez, in the Costa Rica penalty area. Gonzalez has had an excellent first half, and it's a free kick to Costa Rica inside their own penalty area as we approach half-time. A minimum, just to confirm, of 2 minutes of stoppage time, and there was a clear little nudge there by Mitrovic, and he knew straight away on Giancarlo Gonzalez. Keylor Navas will take it. 3 yards inside his penalty area, closing stages of the first half. Long ball forward into that Serbian half of the field, and it's hooked forward by Tadic. He's looking for Mitrovic. Another header, one in the air by Gonzalez. He's been put under real examination aerially, Giancarlo Gonzalez in particular, and at the moment he's passing with flying colours.
Certainly has dealt with it well, and both defences have actually not had an easy ride today.
Given away by Milinkovic, and here's Urania into the penalty area, cuts back onto his right foot. He just dangled a leg there, Milinkovic. Didn't go to ground, that would have been interesting, and then in the end it's Tosic who is fouled by Venegas, and it's a free kick to Serbia and they can relieve the danger.
It was risky. Urania does well. He just thinks about sticking out a leg and then he pulls it away. Urania in the end is crowded out.
It was honest by Urania, wasn't it? He could have instigated some contact there and really sold that as a foul in the penalty area. He didn't do so. It's one of those situations where you applaud him for his sportsmanship, but he might get a telling off from the manager at half-time.
Go down, invite the contacts, as you said, Oliver. I think actually both centre-forwards have played well, both Urania and Mitrovic. Not had great service, but they're certainly not giving up any opportunities to try and harry the opposition defences. It's been a good half. I've enjoyed it. We've not had more clear-cut chances as we would have liked. Gonzalez has been the best so far.
And that is half-time. The whistle blows from Malang Dedu, the Senegalese referee. So both goalkeepers with saves to make. Keylor Navas, with a spectacular save from that Milinkovic-Savic overhead kick, and that's an interesting talking point for half-time and beyond, because it would have been overturned and would have counted, we think, on VAR, Ethan. But where do you see this going in the second half?
Evenly balanced. Serbia, I think, have got greater control of the football and a bit more ability individually. As long as they keep their concentration, they'll find a way to limit Costa Rica, to very, very few chances. Costa Rica, I think, don't really have the wherewithal to sit back and defend. They do like to be engaged. They've been forced back at the moment, but if they do go behind, I think we'll see the best of them. Certainly their best opportunities, I think, will be playing counter-attacking football. Let's hope that there's a good enough tempo in the opening 15 or 20 minutes of the second half as we had in the first, with players tiring a little bit of fatigue, said they're coming in. Who knows, with 1 or 2 changes as well. They're just maybe 1 or 2 mistakes, which we very often need in order to open the game up.
A bright first half in Samara, Mark, but the half-time score, Costa Rica 0, Serbia 0. Back to you. Thanks, Mark. So we await the Costa Rican side in the 2034 World Cup that'll contain a player called Putin Tejeda, maybe, inspired by the current Russian leader. It's a terrific story, the Yeltsin Tejeda one, as Steve was mentioning. There's also a player on the Costa Rican bench called Ian Smith, which I think both Evan and I are looking forward to him coming onto the field to simplify our jobs a little bit. Here comes Serbia. They've kept the Costa Ricans waiting, but Branislav Ivanovic is trotting out onto the pitch now in that all-white Serbian kit, and it's Costa Rica strolling onto the field here in Samara, red shirts, blue shorts and red socks. And you mentioned before half-time, the impetus going into the break, where we had a fast start to the game, a bit of a lull halfway through the first half, and then it sort of sped up again towards half-time. What are you looking forward to here in the second half, Evan?
More of the same. I thought it was a good 45 minutes just over of football. Opening World Cup games, can be a little bit cagey sometimes. Teams don't want to give away too much, but sometimes we do get a nice exciting start. 1 or 2 half chances, 1 or 2 decent saves by either goalkeeper, but then the players generally then don't want to get to that half-an-hour mark, and the players just say, right, okay, I had a good start, not conceded, not scored, let's make sure that tactically we are carrying out the instructions. And then you're hoping sometimes that there's that piece of brilliance. Too often, unfortunately, it does not happen, but then you expect 1 or 2 mistakes. That's not happened either. I think the longer the game goes on, talk about substitutions being made, a little bit of fatigue, setting in players not quite at the kind of level that they would like to be at, and then that's when we see 1 or 2 errors happening, and hopefully we get the players able to take advantage, and then we've got a real barnstorming last 15 or 20 minutes.
Well, we await confirmation, but it appears that neither side has made a change at half-time. Marco Urania, the lone striker for Costa Rica, sharing a joke with the referee today, Malang Dedu from Senegal. It's Costa Rica who'll be kicking from left to right, who will get us underway in this second half. Both sides with just lone strikers, and you've been very impressed with both of their performances so far. Alexander Mitrovic at the top of the pitch for Serbia.
Yes, both guys have been starved of good service, if you like, but certainly have kept working. They've always been an outlet for their teammates, and if they continue to do that, then hopefully the quality will increase as players get more and more used to the conditions.
So underway then in the second half here. Costa Rica 0, Serbia 0, 5 live at the World Cup. Will either of these teams break the deadlock in this second half? Later on at 4 o'clock, remember, Germany against Mexico in the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow. And then at 7, the favourites Brazil, who are in this group, of course, Group E, against Switzerland in Rostov. And here's Brian Ruiz, who has Brian on his back, the number 10, who's in attack here for Costa Rica over on the left-hand side. A good challenge put in by Dusan Tadic of Southampton. He concedes the throw. Costa Rica have it, level with the edge of the penalty area. Left-hand side, the entire pitch in the Samara Arena now in shade, and it's just the first few rows and the blue seats on the far side of the ground that are bathed in sunshine. And it's Fernando Calvo who has to be careful. He's on a yellow card after a rash challenge on Dusan Tadic in the first half. He has the throw in. Gets it back from Ruiz. The left-footed attempted cross cannons off the thigh of Tadic. Disappears out of play near the corner flag on the left-hand side for another throw in. So it's Calvo again, who scored against Northern Ireland on June the 3rd in their friendly in Costa Rica. Plays for Minnesota United under Adrian Heath. He didn't make the 2014 squad. He fell out of favour, Calvo, after signing for Nordsjælland in Denmark. That didn't play well with the coach at the time. Cross into the Serbian penalty area. Should be easy for Kolarov to handle. He does so. Sends a long clearance down into the Costa Rica half, but way too far for Mitrovic to stay interested in that. And Keylor Navas, in all lime green, has the ball at his feet, and he rolls it out right-footed to Johnny Costa, who's been playing his club football in Colombia. He actually made one start in 2014. It was the quarter-final against the Netherlands. The starting centre-back was suspended, and Costa Rica kept a clean sheet that day. Guzman's gone down in a heap, injured. Free kick, it was Sergej Milinkovic-Savic who just clipped his heel, and Costa Rica, inside their own half, have a free kick, but it's a slightly slow start to the second 45 minutes.
They're still getting to grips with themselves after that break at half-time. Players don't always respond well, especially in the same fashion they started the game after that at the end of the first half. Substitutions today, Arlo, and the timing of them, I think, will be very, very important, particularly if you have explosive players going. Real accelerators, if you like, people like Joel Campbell on the bench for Costa Rica. Just as reach that 65-minute mark or so, in that last 25 minutes with players like him can really burst onto the scene and torment tired defences.
Throwing on the far side on their left-hand side for Costa Rica, just inside their own half. A reminder of the starting 11s. They remain the same. Keylor Navas for Costa Rica in goal. 5 at the back, from left to right. Calvo, Acosta, Gonzalez, Duarte and Gamboa. Borges and Guzman in the centre of midfield. Venegas is on the right-hand side. Urania at centre forward, and Brian Ruiz, the former Fulham man, now of Sporting Lisbon, on the left. And for Serbia, 4-2-3-1 for them. Stojkovic in goal. From right to left, Ivanovic, Milenkovic, Tosic and Kolarov, the captain. And then into midfield, Laic, who we haven't seen a great deal of so far. Milivojevic of Crystal Palace, Nemanja Matic of Manchester United, and Dusan Tadic of Southampton. And Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, who had that spectacular overhead kick, ruled out for offside. It didn't go in. Excellent save by Navas, but he would have been onside behind Mitrovic up top. And it's Milinkovic-Savic who was storming forward towards the edge of the penalty area there. Gonzalez has had an excellent game, got the challenge in, but Serbia still with possession on the right-hand side. Dusan Tadic, who's looked in confident form so far, seeing a lot of the ball on the right for Serbia. Matic in a good position centrally here for the Serbians, who are circulating possession. Back into their own half they go. And now here is Dusko Tosic, who made his international debut 11 years ago. But only started one qualifier, and he gets the start on the big stage in Russia 2018. Gonzalez with another header clear. Ball played down the middle by Guzman, but he can't find Venegas, and Serbia will build again through Ivanovic, looking for the long ball through. It was missed by, I think it was Costa, and Mitrovic unable to take advantage. The ball through to Keylor Navas.
Just a straight through ball, which seems to be posing too much danger, but big swipe and a miss can certainly make everybody around you nervous as a defender.
Mitrovic, the give and go, the flag stays down. Alexander Mitrovic for Serbia, and it's an excellent save by Navas. He was clean through, he's got his head in his hands, and the Real Madrid goalkeeper comes up big there for Costa Rica to keep it at 0-0.
Massive save. It's lovely play actually from Mitrovic. Lovely 1-2 with Milinkovic-Savic. He just plays the ball from 10 yards outside the box, turns and heads towards goal. It's beautifully weighted for him. Didn't really get himself into a comfortable position, it seems. Always seemed to be sort of leaning to the left and trying to steer it past Keylor Navas made it obvious, and the goalkeeper tied it up.
Best chance of the game so far. The corner is headed clear at the near post, at the corner of the 6-yard box by Borges, but it's back with Leitch for Serbia. What a chance that was for Alexander Mitrovic, who did so well at Fulham. 12 goals in 15 championship appearances as they went up via the playoff final against Aston Villa. Still on Newcastle United's books, of course, and there's talk of a £20 million price being placed on his head, but he'll be desperately disappointed not to open his account at Russia 2018. Sent clear through by Milinkovic-Savic, but Keylor Navas spread himself brilliantly. Never looked quite convincing, Efanokoku Mitrovic, when he was going through there, but what can he do here on the edge of the penalty area? Out-muscled this time by Borges. In comes Matic, and it's Mitrovic again on the left foot, and it's Calvo desperately has to get back and concede the throw-in. And Mitrovic causing a nuisance of himself.
He is. He's not a fast player, although, and you don't always have to be. You don't have to be at all to be a top striker. He wasn't moving smoothly onto the ball, was he? It was almost as if he was lumbering towards it, and in the end, as I said, his body shape made it obvious that he was going to the goalkeeper's left. Navas is a smart goalkeeper. He was already moving before Mitrovic plays the ball. In the end, I've just seen the replay. Almost comes off the goalkeeper's knee, then he gets an arm to it. It's nowhere near outstretched for the goalkeeper, off his foot, then onto his arms. It's a comfortable save. There's no elevation. Navas will be pleased with his stop, of course. Mitrovic will be very disappointed he wasn't able to clip that over the goalkeeper, or at least force him into a fingertip save. That distance, should have scored.
He got a pass on the head, an encouraging pass on the head by Milinkovic-Savic before the corner was taken, and it's Milinkovic-Savic now. Is he fouled? Yes, he was looking to spring Serbia into attack on that right-hand side. He's been fouled by Gamboa in the Costa Rica half. In fact, it's Guzman with the foul. It's nice vision by Milinkovic-Savic, who is starting to have a growing influence on the game here at the start of this second half, seeing more possession in central areas, and it's clear that when he gets the ball at his feet, he can use it.
The talent is there, no doubt about that. He's another guy. He's not particularly a quick mover. He does shift the ball quite well when he's got it under control. He's quite a solidly well-built player as well. Somebody who's really going to run away from people. It's all about receiving and the vision to bring people into play. It was a lovely way to pass for Mitrovic. Shame that we didn't get the opening goal of the game.
Serbia in possession, just inside that Costa Rica half. And it's Milivojevic who rolls it to Ivanovic into the feet of Tadic. He spins on a sixpence or perhaps a ruble to play the ball down the line, but Costa Rica repelled that attack, and it's back in the Serbian half with the centre-back who took a nasty fall in the first half, Tosic. He appears to be okay now. That's a lovely hanging cross from Kolarov. It's just beyond Milinkovic-Savic, and the corner is conceded by Francisco Calvo, but a lovely searching ball from the former Manchester City man to that back post.
Everything that Kolarov does looks attractive. Another beautifully weighted cross. This time towards the far post, left to right, of course. Milinkovic-Savic, he's not going to get there anyway, and Costa Rican defence take no chances and head it back behind the goal for another corner.
Guzman is trying to put Adam Leitch off here. He's the requisite 10 yards away from the corner kick. One or two scuffles and argy-bargy in the penalty area sorted out by the referee. Here goes Leitch. It's over the head of Guzman, and the header comes in by Mitrovic, and it flashes wide right in the middle of the goal, 6 yards out. He's claiming he was fouled, but the upshot is a goal kick.
Duarte's not even looking at the ball, looking at Mitrovic. Blatant blocking, if you like. We saw a penalty given for that, actually, last night. Trustekong for Nigeria. He's all over Mandzukic. Referee's on the spot, points to a spot, points to the spot kick to be taken. This one not quite as blatant.
He was the only one that appealed there, Alexander Mitrovic. The play is back underway, so therefore that situation won't be reviewed on VAR.
It is quite easy to actually hold Mitrovic because he very often doesn't make a run towards the ball. Just wants to bully the opposition and just try and nod things forward. And so it's easy then to grab hold of a shirt.
10 minutes into the second half. Sorry, Efan. It's 0-0. Costa Rica against Serbia at the Samara Arena. And we got a nice little nugget of information at half-time. It's Costa Rica's oldest starting 11 in the World Cup, 29 years, 346 days, so virtually 30. They've stayed loyal to the team that went to the quarterfinals in 2014. It's a yellow card brandished by the referee to Guzman, number 20 for Costa Rica, and it's a free kick to Serbia just outside the penalty area, right-hand side. It was a foul on Alexander Mitrovic.
He actually pulled his shirt moments earlier. Stamped on the back of Milinkovic-Savic about 3 or 4 minutes ago, and the referee decided not to flash a yellow card. About 4 or 5 fouls combined, first and second half.
Is Kolarov going to fancy this one? It's beyond Navas's left-hand post. But with a left foot like Alexander Kolarov, Adam Leitch was there or thereabouts. He could dink it over with the right foot, but Kolarov with the left looks like he's taking control of the situation here.
Yeah, he can power one in from this kind of distance, no doubt about it. Probably be aiming towards that right post of Keylor Navas.
Salt and pepper grey hair of Alexander Kolarov, the tattoos up and down each arm, and he takes it and he scores a spectacular goal. Oh, that's magnificent from the former Manchester City man. The Serbia captain has fired his nation into the lead. Keylor Navas with no chance, diving to his left-hand side. Brilliant from Kolarov. Serbia 1, Costa Rica 0.
Awesome free kick from Kolarov. I thought he was going to go to the right side, maybe try and outfox Keylor Navas. And he was standing outside, maybe expecting it there as well. Once it goes over the wall, near side, and it's at near post, Navas got absolutely no chance. I said everything this guy does seems to be attractive. Beautiful it was. Superbly struck, as you would expect with him. Lots of pace to dip straight over the wall. That is an awesome free kick. Navas almost got there. So much pace on the ball, just inside the post. Stunning free kick.
And it's at least, 5-6 yards wide of the post when he struck it. It's a good 10 yards outside the penalty area. It was wonderfully curled over the top of a 4-man wall. There might be a bit of an inquest as to why the Costa Ricans turned their back and 1 or 2 of them dipped their heads. But it had to be absolutely precise and perfect, or Keylor Navas would have just palmed that around. And from Alexander Kolarov, it was absolutely smothered by his teammates. Serbia have the lead. Costa Rica now have to chase the game with 57 minutes on the clock. What a goal. And that will rival Cristiano Ronaldo against Spain for the free kick of the tournament so far.
Navas is an athletic goalkeeper. He's not the biggest or the tallest, but certainly does fly across the box, and I've seen him punch away many a free kick. Not quite as accurate or as pacey as that one from Kolarov. This time he was left with no opportunity to get fingertips onto it. Has to be said, actually, although based on the opening 45 minutes, what we've seen so far in the second, they've deserved it.
Chip across from Tadic, looking for the advancing run down the middle of Leitch. It's marginally in front of him. A round of applause from Leitch towards his teammate for the idea there. But it's Serbia looking far the brighter side, far the more energetic, inventive team at the start of this second half, and Costa Rica have a small mountain to climb now to get back into it. Serbia in all white kits, kicking from right to left as we look at things, and Costa Rica in their red shirts, blue shorts, red socks, kicking from left to right, and they have the ball in their own half through Johnny Acosta.
Something more now for the midfield of Serbia, and indeed the back line, to be aggressive about in terms of defending this lead. And any elements of caution or ideas of just playing out for a draw in the last 15 or 20 minutes, unless they equalise, of course, for Costa Rica, out of the window.
Heavy challenge by Ivanovic.
Terrible challenge
on Venegas on that far side, and we saw a yellow card brandished earlier for the challenge on Tadic by Calvo, and Ivanovic gets himself a yellow.
Say me? Of course it was you. Who else made the challenge? Looking at the referee and tapping his own chest, say, did I make that challenge?
Was it the correct decision? I mean,
he actually got some of the ball as well.
He did get the ball, but both feet were off the ground, weren't they?
Yeah.
They weren't raised as such.
No, not tidy though.
And the first change will be made by Costa Rica, and it's Venegas who will make way for Christian Bolaños, and it's a mild surprise that he didn't start the game originally. Bolaños, 34 years of age, so the average age of the team has now gone up. But he faced a race to be fit in time. He broke his ankle in March and had surgery. He plays for Saprissa, the largest club in Costa Rican football, and he is now over this free kick on the Costa Rican left. He'll look to curl it in with his right foot towards goal. It's the referee scene here. Nothing. He's happy. He wants play to continue. Right arm raised, and in it goes. It's just over the head of Gonzalez, and here's a chance for Arania. He chips it towards the back post, and it's behind all of his teammates, and it's Tosic who can bring it clear. In fact, it's Milivojevic, but he runs out of room, and it's a free throw-in on the right-hand side for Costa Rica. Decent set piece.
It was a great set piece, actually. Ball wouldn't sit, actually, if it was headed out for Urania. Had to wait for it, thought about hitting it on the volley. It was high, it was above knee height. He took it down and flipped the ball back in with no pace. There was nobody on the back post to take advantage.
Straight swap on that left-hand side for Venegas for Bolaños, and here he is again. He's got a black headband on, a deep cross. Stojkovic equal to that. Brian Ruiz was under pressure, well, putting the goalkeeper under pressure. But he looks lively and bright on that left-hand side. The veteran, one of only two survivors from the 2006 campaign in Germany for Costa Rica.
Venegas started the first half pretty well, as did Costa Rica. Pretty much end-to-end stuff, actually, from both sides, but as the game drifted towards the end of the first half, Venegas and Brian Ruiz, one of the more dangerous players for Costa Rica, and became less and less effective.
Well, Serbia have a decision to make here. Do they protect what they've got, or do they try and press for more and another goal, and therefore perhaps potentially leaving themselves open at the back, because Costa Rica have responded well to going behind. There's more urgency in their play now, but perhaps the Serbians guilty of sitting back slightly.
I'd be very surprised if they actually pressed looking for the second goal. Containing is very much the byword for some of these European nations. Watch and wait. Now they've got the goal. Perfect scenario for them. They'll be happy to counter-attack. But sitting back, of course, is very dangerous. And if the urgency now is there for Costa Rica, as you'd imagine it should be, and you would expect it, you concede ground, and ultimately, against good teams, two decent players in red today, you will concede chances.
Christian Gamboa's cross was cut out by the Serbia defence. Milinkovic-Savic then gives the ball away when there was promise of a counter-attack. Straight to Giancarlo Gonzalez, who's now at right centre-back for Costa Rica. Johnny Acosta has switched with him to go to the middle of that back three, with Johnny Acosta on the left. And it is on the left-hand side with Calvo. Now Bolaños.
From a coaching point of view as well, although I think you can sort of attract danger, by making one or two defensive substitutions. Thinking, right, okay, well, I don't want to be too negative, but want more control of the ball and help out the back four. And the moment you do that, you signal that we're happy with the 1-0. And then the offensive players on the pitch then become a little bit more stifled with the way they go about their business. So keep this for as long, 11, as you can.
Duarte coming forward towards the corner of the penalty area. Bolaños with the cross. It was a good one. It was a teaser, a tempter, but it's across the face of goal, because Urania had made that run to the near post, and it goes past the far post for a goal kick. And it was a magnificent free kick. The white boots, pristine white boots of Kolarov, and that must have been, as we see a replay of it now, Efan,
perfect.
I mean, it's less than 2 centimetres inside the post. It's absolutely perfect.
May even just brush the inside of the post, and Navas, I think, is as close as you can be for a goalkeeper. If he was edging any more to his left to begin with, and then the ball all of a sudden is fired right side of the wall, he looks completely foolish. No blame attached to the goalkeeper at all. I think if you're 6'6", he may have got fingertips onto that.
Milinkovic-Savic into the edge of the penalty area to Dusan Tadic. He tried the back heel. It didn't come off. It was blocked by the Costa Rica defence, and here's Calvo on a yellow card, the left wing back for Costa Rica.
But then if you're a 6'6" goalkeeper, then you generally don't have the spring and the athleticism to get across as quickly as somebody as Navas. So it balances itself out. He's a top goalkeeper, no doubt about that. He wasn't able to put his hands on that one.
Well, the challenge was from the goalkeeper. If you can get it there, then good luck to you. And it was a challenge accepted by Kolarov, who did exactly that. And it's 1-0 to Serbia in the 65th minute against Costa Rica. Oscar Ramirez has made one switch. He might be contemplating more for the Central Americans, who are attacking now through Bolaños, the substitute. Calvo on the left-hand side. Bolaños with that black Alice band rolls the ball to the feet of Borges with his lime green boots. Forward into the penalty area, headed clear by Tosic, the central defender. An aerial duel is won this time by Giancarlo Gonzalez, but unfairly. It's left Mitrovic sprawling on the ground, and it's a free kick to Serbia.
Typical muscular performance from Mitrovic, competing for every single ball. A good outlet and foil, actually, for those players just a little bit behind him today. I'd be surprised if he last the full 90, however. But physically, you know, he's been in quite good shape the last 3 or 4 months of the season for Fulham, playing well, scoring goals. He's a guy who needs to be playing week in, week out to find his level in terms of fitness and, of course, form. Tendency to look a little bit big and slow when he's not playing enough.
Throwing conceded by Oscar Duarte, the Costa Rican stroke Nicaraguan centre-back, and it's a throw taken by Branislav Ivanovic on the right-hand side for Serbia. He gets the ball back, the cross comes in, the nodded header is well wide by Milinkovic-Savic, and it's a goal kick to Costa Rica, who, of their 17 World Cup goals in their history, they qualified for the first time in 1990. 13 of them have come in the second half of their game, so there's hope yet for Los Chicos, who make another change. Marco Urania, who's led the line well, makes way for Joel Campbell, a name, of course, familiar to Premier League fans and those of Arsenal. Has been on the Arsenal books since 2011. Only made 23 appearances, Effin, and last season he was out on loan for the 6th time to Real Betis.
Fresh legs, speedy ones, a skillful player as well, direct runner. Just looking for that Serbian backline, a different look at a player. Just needs to get a few touches early on, and not ones where he's looking to immediately attack the defence, just to drop a little bit into midfield if he can. Find his rhythm.
He missed most of the La Liga season. He was injured in October, a knee problem. He missed 5 months. He returned at Easter, and here he is with the ball towards the edge of the penalty area, and Ruiz. And here is Christian Gamboa, not a regular by any means at Celtic, only made 2 appearances in the SPL in the treble-winning season. He's so out of practice that he enlisted the help of a personal fitness trainer and stayed behind at training every day in the build-up to these World Cup finals. And he's offering an overlap here for Campbell into the penalty area. The challenge comes in. There are 1 or 2 appeals around the stadium from Costa Rica fans for a penalty kick, and it's waved away by the referee. Costa Rica back towards their halfway line in possession through Guzman, and he plays it square to Ruiz. On the right-hand side, once again, is Gamboa.
Psychology of the game, I always think, in sport in general, is fascinating. Team who's taking the lead now mentally drop off. You know, they've not switched off because they've not conceded any chances really, but they don't have that desire or urgency to go and dominate proceedings. You know, the game so far as they have done. In Serbia now, although they're 1-0, this is probably the most dangerous period of the match for them. Costa Rica now have got the confidence, if you like, and certainly the desire to go and get the second goal, the equalising goal, looking at the challenge on the edge of the box. Campbell, no complaints about that.
Good challenge by Adam Leitch, wasn't it?
Leitch, yeah.
The wide midfielder getting back and defending, swung his right foot at the ball, made a clean contact with it. Campbell went over. He was half claiming the penalty kick, Campbell, but I don't think he was convinced at all. And the referee waved play on. The 2 wide men for Costa Rica, Ruiz and Bolaños, have switched flanks. Here's Ruiz on the left-hand side, number 10 for Costa Rica. Borges with space virtually on the centre spot, forward towards Campbell. He was facing his own goal. It was an untidy flick into the air, but it was brought down by Gamboa. And now it's the centre-back, the left centre-back, Johnny Acosta. He leaves the ball for Guzman on a yellow card. Between the lines it goes to Campbell. Costa Rica trailing Serbia here on 5 Live at the World Cup by 1-0. An exquisite free kick from the left boot of the former Manchester City star Alexander Kolarov, the Serbia captain, with an absolute beauty. And that separates the sides as we head towards the final 20 minutes. And Serbia are about to make their first change, and it's Leitch who makes way. And that challenge in the penalty area on Campbell was his last action. And Filip Kostic comes into the game, who was relegated this season from the Bundesliga with Hamburg. So the first change made by Serbia. Costa Rica looking to build, looking to gain more traction and to draw level in this game. They've won 3 of their 4 World Cup openers. They usually hit the ground running. Famously 4 years ago, 3-1 against Uruguay.
Unhappy ending to the season for Kostic. They've been relegated for the first time in their history. They were the stalwarts of the Bundesliga.
It's a like for like. He's a left winger by trade. He's stationed himself on the right wing to start this one with Tadic on the far side. You've covered quite a bit of Bundesliga this season, Effen, haven't you? So is he a player that caught your eye?
He always does. He's a good mover with the ball. He's strong, good left foot. Somebody who can play on from that left side, can also move centrally well and play as a sort of auxiliary striker, if you like. He's one of those guys just needs more and more of the ball. The more you give him the ball, I always advocate for those kind of players actually to have a little spell playing as centre forward, play with their back to goal and don't have the opportunity to drift out of games. Let's see if we can dovetail pretty well with Mitrovic maybe and get himself involved with it, actually, just like Joel Campbell, nice and early.
Milenkovic has given away a free kick in a dangerous position here, and Costa Rica, it was a foul, a little grab of the shirt of Joel Campbell, and it's Campbell with his left foot and Bolaños with his right who's over this. Bolaños with bright yellow boots, and they're just chatting between them as to what they're going to do here. Serbia are defending right on the edge of their penalty area. Bolaños steps over it. Campbell takes his time, curls it in, headed clear by the Serbian defence. Milinkovic-Savic with the header, but it's still with Costa Rica on that right-hand side. Gamboa tries to get the right-footed cross in, but it's blocked. And then a throw-in conceded to Costa Rica by the Serbians. But they are definitely sitting back, Serbia, and that's a dangerous, potentially dangerous tactic here, with Costa Rica being invited forward, and that will give them encouragement. Campbell's on the field now, Bolaños is on the field, two of their experienced and most prolific attackers in this recent golden period. And here's Campbell into the penalty area, and it's good defending by Milinkovic to get back and to deny him the opportunity of a shot on goal. He was just down the left channel into that penalty area, and it's a corner kick. He was onside, a corner kick to Costa Rica.
A little bit of luck with the way the ball actually got to Campbell. Maybe just those early touches not quite in tune with the game. Milinkovic does well. Nice turn of pace to get back alongside Campbell, who's no slouch. He wasn't able to lean into him and brush him off with his body.
Another substitution for Costa Rica. Daniel Colindres comes onto the field for Guzman, the midfielder. So it's an attacking move, as you would expect, by Ramirez. The corner kick goes in. Stojkovic came but didn't punch the ball cleanly. It was off the head of Milinkovic-Savic. Still with Costa Rica down the right-hand side, and Joel Campbell, who's seen plenty of the ball since coming into the game. He attempted the cross with the left foot, curling it in, but it was blocked by Dusan Tadic. Another cross comes into the edge of the penalty area. Milinkovic gets that one clear. It's Gamboa with the long ball towards Bolaños. A nice piece of skill, but in the end couldn't get around Mitrovic, and he brings the ball clear.
He looked for a free kick, will Mitrovic.
Bolaños has not been tempted so far, and in the end actually didn't concede the needless free kick as Mitrovic was bringing the ball into Costa Rican territory. In the end, Serbia have to settle for a throw on their right-hand side, about 15 yards inside the Costa Rica half.
Pleased with the way Sada responded, Oscar Ramirez, since going a goal down. You would expect that initial response, to get back on level terms, and also expect Serbia just to sit back a little bit. They are a nation of footballers generally who would like to play counter-attacking football. Don't have too much pace actually to be able to stretch Costa Rica. There'll be so much they'll be reliant on. Probably Tadic is their quickest outfield player, if you like. Kostic is a good player. He's a strong runner with the ball, but not lightning, no doubt.
Long throw taken towards the penalty area. Milinkovic-Savic was backing in there to the Costa Rican defender Johnny Acosta. Free kick to the Central Americans. A clear little shove there from the Lazio man, the highly rated midfielder, attacking midfielder, who's drawing plenty of attention.
Ball retention for them in the middle of the park will still be key. Mitrovic is to remain on the pitch. He won't be able to run towards the corner flags in the last few minutes if he's still on the pitch. So just being able to feed him centrally if they can, and then having people determined enough and brave enough to take one or two chances in order to leave their midfield station, if you like, because there's always a risk that players will get in behind you. So the striker will become more and more isolated the longer the game goes on.
The voice of Effen Ekoku, formerly of Norwich City, Wimbledon and Nigeria at the 1994 World Cup. That was the first World Cup that the Super Eagles had qualified for, and it was off the back of the Africa Cup of Nations win, wasn't it?
Yes, that we won in Tunisia 1994. That was our second win.
Belated congratulations for that. That's the first time we've met since. Milinkovic-Savic on his right foot, and he opened up for him. And his right-footed shot was wild. Exactly, Effen. It was always rising over Keylor Navas's goal, and the chance is lost.
That's an early chance strike, isn't it, where you're just so desperate to try and make a mark, swing at something when you're not particularly warmed up. But so far played in the game so far, 75 minutes, that was a disappointing strike.
Well, Serbia, after this, go to Kaliningrad to face Switzerland. So they'll be thinking in the deep recesses of their minds, they wouldn't admit to it, but 3 points here and 3 points against Switzerland, thank you very much, that'll be them through to the knockout stage, as you would expect. Long ball in towards the penalty area. Mitrovic, it might fall to his right foot. He rolls it out to the right hand side of the penalty area. The cross comes in. There was a chance right in front of goal, and in the end it's Keylor Navas that was able to get the ball clear. Kostic coming in, it was fired into his right foot. It was technically an open goal, it was slightly behind him, he couldn't adjust his body, and in the end the ball went away from goal. Still with Serbia, edge of the penalty area, the chip into the area towards Dusan Tadic, well defended this time by Calvo, and his clearance finds the chest of Bolaños. An excellent headed intervention by Kolarov. The shot on the edge of the area by Matic was blocked, and it's a good period all of a sudden for Serbia, who are thinking to themselves, no, we can't sit back for the final 15 minutes of this game with all the attackers coming onto the field. We've got to start taking the game to Costa Rica, and that was very close to a second and potentially clinching goal.
Yeah, spot on, Arlo. This ball, we're just slightly behind Kostic. You're almost at your fingertips. Just fingertips from Keylor Navas, just sends it a little bit backwards, and in the end it's much more difficult for Kostic.
Milinkovic-Savic again, and he thought about the shot and then tried to flick it with the outside of his right boot wide towards Dusan Tadic, and it was a stooping Calvo who got the ball back to his goalkeeper. And in terms of where the action is taking place, this will suit Serbia very, very well indeed. Kostic, as you say there, was his eyes lit up. He was just beyond the goalkeeper. He would have tapped a volley with the side of his right foot into an empty net potentially, but Navas just got that fingertip to it, and in the end his effort went away from goal.
Yeah, it looks like a golden chance, doesn't it, when you see it from general play, but you see the replays. So there was a couple of fingers that Costa Rican keeper was able to get on it. The massive difference between themselves, remaining 1-0 or going 2-0 down. And all of a sudden, from nowhere, Serbia found their attacking menace again.
Yep, sprung back to life, haven't they? 77 minutes gone. Costa Rica 0, Serbia 1. Alexander Kolarov with the only goal. A quite sensational left-footed free kick, which was absolutely pin perfect past a sprawling Keylor Navas.
Yeah, the Swiss will be certainly looking at this game and hoping that it's a draw. You know, it gives them a little bit more hope going forward, irrespective of the result against Brazil. I mentioned Switzerland as well. I have to mention a couple of friends from Switzerland. I played in Grasshoppers, and whenever I get mentioned, it's always English clubs. My friends in Switzerland said, don't forget to say you're a former Grasshoppers player as well, any opportunity you get. So I am.
You're going to have to give us some names then. Here comes Colindres down the left-hand side, a cross that Brian Ruiz, in fact it's Christian Bolaños, on the right-hand side, manages to keep in play right by the byline. Back he goes to Gamboa. Joel Campbell thought about the shot, then takes it, but they close the door in time there, Serbia. Now Borges, edge of the area, on his right foot, and that shot is blocked once again on the edge of the area by Tosic. And they're looking dangerous, Costa Rica. There was an opportunity a split second earlier for Joel Campbell to maybe get a curler in with the left foot. He didn't take it, and then the Serbians just closed the door at the back on the edge of the penalty area. And it's Serbia now marching forward through the midfield. The ball out to Kostic on that left-hand side, who's been introduced and has done very well so far, and having been relegated with Hamburg in the Bundesliga, may alert one or two of the bigger clubs in the top flight around the world with a good performance at the World Cup. And he started well. This cross was cleared.
Surprised if he's there next season at Hamburg.
Time running out for Costa Rica. Can they produce something special in the closing stages here to deny Serbia all 3 points?
Surprisingly, Arlo, the game is very open the last 5 or so minutes.
You'd think that Serbia would specialise in closing this game out, particularly with the likes of Matic and Milivojevic in the centre of the park. And Joel Campbell's looked a menace since coming on, but he's just possessed on the side of the penalty area. The ball breaks here to Nemanja Matic. He attempts to give and go with Mitrovic. He was dragged back, a hand on the shoulder from Johnny Acosta, and just on the halfway line to the left-hand side. For Serbia, they have a free kick.
Yeah, it does well, actually, does Joel Campbell initially, to take the ball away from Tosic on this near side. Just gets to the edge of the area, then he just he delays. Tosic then comes back right on the edge of the box, pokes the ball away from him. That's just lack of sharpness from too few matches played in recent months for Joel Campbell.
Yeah. Costa Rica no strangers to Brazil. They will face them next in St. Petersburg and then round things up in Nizhny against Switzerland. So a very, very difficult game coming next for them. And morale, I would imagine, would take a dent if they go into that game on 0 points against the World Cup favourites, who start tonight on 5 Live at 7 o'clock against Switzerland in Rostov. Before that at 4, Germany against Mexico, all live on 5 Live. That one from the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow.
Very few smaller nations play well against Brazil.
All over the top by Milinkovic-Savic towards Dusan Tadic in the penalty area, who then robs the ball off Calvo, but then Calvo gets back and clears the ball towards Borges, and Costa Rica bring the ball clear. It's a long ball forward. Milinkovic, it was over his head. It was the attempted chest control by Joel Campbell, and then the boot was slightly raised by the Arsenal man, and he's conceded the free kick. Milinkovic, in fact Tosic, just on the floor, and it's a free kick to Serbia. He was stooping there, Tosic.
Yeah, looking to get that free kick. Campbell's foot is, knee high, if that. He's throwing himself at the ball bravely, of course.
Oscar Ramirez, the Costa Rica manager, with a very smart pocket square in his blue suit, wasn't happy with that decision, and it's another change being made here by Serbia, which will be their second, and Dusan Tadic. And you mentioned earlier on he's going to make way. He really did come good, didn't he, towards the end of the season. His season was almost ignited once Mark Hughes was appointed at St Mary's, and Southampton saved themselves with a game to spare virtually, didn't they, with that win at Swansea, and Tadic was at the centre of everything they did in that resurrection.
Yeah, a couple of big goals against Bournemouth, I remember, at the St Mary's Stadium, and actually from the game or two before that he looked really as if he was up for the fight, so an impressive end to him, and actually a good close to 80 minutes he's played today as well, also Dusan Tadic. But now all of a sudden, as you'd expect, Rukavina coming on, a much more defensive-minded player. Now thinking about 3 points to get their World Cup campaign off to a great start.
Yeah, Rukavina is on. The wily veteran, 34 years old, plays for Villarreal. Made his debut for Serbia back in 2007. This will be his 48th cap. Once played very briefly for Jurgen Klopp at Dortmund. But a defensive move by Serbia to protect what they've got as we approach the final 7 minutes. Costa Rica 0, Serbia 1. Long ball forward towards Bolaños. He chests it back for Gamboa. Gamboa back to Bolaños. They've got 3 attackers on the edge of the penalty area beyond the far post. Here's Ruiz. Can he produce some magic? The Sporting Lisbon former Fulham man. Back it goes to Borges. Now well organised at the back here, Serbia. Played along the back line, Johnny Acosta. That's a good ball between the lines. First time for Bolaños. That was disappointing. Had brought the ball under control there. He could have turned towards goal. He had a good 5 or 6 yards to advance into. Decided on the first time ball, and it was easily dealt with by Serbia, who clear long, but Johnny Acosta can bring the ball back towards the halfway line down the Costa Rica right, and a chip to the feet or the chest of Joel Campbell. And he's put under pressure by Tosic, and it's Bolaños with a teasing centre, but far too straight in the end. And it's gathered cleanly by Stojkovic, who really hasn't had a great deal to do, despite 1 or 2 decent attacks of promise from Costa Rica.
Yeah, the final ball has let them down. They don't really have the player sort of leading that front line. Since Urania left the field, and he seemed to be tiring the opening few minutes of the second half. I feel like Campbell is a wider player. He's not a guy who can really play through the middle. So at the moment, they're struggling to get that person right up against the centre halves who can take the ball, who can bring people into play, and they're not seeing enough of it in the middle of the park really to force Serbia back. And as I said, I've been surprised that they've been quite open the last 15 minutes.
Wonderful vision by Kolarov to spot Alexander Mitrovic on the edge of the penalty area. It was a long searching curling ball, but in the end, once Mitrovic got involved in the play, the flag went up on the far side. I'm going big on the Kolarov goal. I'm stating now that it was better than Ronaldo's free kick against Spain.
As good as.
You're staying on the fence on that one.
Yeah, Ronaldo's was to actually salvage a point.
So that's a good point. Well, this is to gain all 3.
Well, that's
potentially
longer left in this game.
We can argue that one afterwards, can't we, over a coffee?
They're the 2 best so far. I think they're the only two direct free kicks, aren't they? I'm sure we'll see a handful or more between now and the World Cup final. Some fabulous strikes.
England get underway tomorrow against Tunisia. Tomorrow evening, live on 5 Live, of course. 5 minutes remaining here. The Costa Rica fans have not given up hope. They're still supporting their side. Joel Campbell pointing to his teammates as Stojkovic gets some help from his teammate Tosic to tie up his laces. That'll be 20 or 30 seconds taken off the clock. Oscar Ramirez looking in pensive form in the technical area. The Costa Rica manager, who has used all of his substitutions now. There's nothing he can do. It's down to the 11 players that are out there for Costa Rica to maybe draw level, but time is running out as we approach the 86th minute. Here's Johnny Acosta. I think they've gone to a back four here, Costa Rica, to get players further forward, but it's broken here to Milinkovic-Savic, and he finds Mitrovic, and that's a poor ball by him trying to find his teammate, but it's an excellent retrieval by Milinkovic-Savic. He plays it into Mitrovic inside the penalty area. Now was that a penalty kick? He had a good view of that with the referee Milan Dedu. Mitrovic went to ground. It was a sliding challenge, and play on is the call. I think it was Gonzalez coming in. He went to ground. Mitrovic went to ground himself in a heap, and the play hasn't been stopped. But wait a minute, the whistle has gone. No, that's for a free kick. But he wants to stop play here, the referee. I wonder if he may take another look at it, and if he does so, that's going to be interesting, that decision. We haven't seen whether he's done the box sign for VAR to be involved.
I think that would be very harsh. My initial thoughts were that no penalty. Mitrovic once again,
I think you're right,
slow to get onto the ball. Then he's leaning, actually looking for the contact, actually trying to use his sort of balance himself around the defender, then maybe turn and poke it with his left or right, who knows. But
it's almost like he's liking to come around. He's wanting to come around the left-hand side of Mitrovic to block any potential shot.
Yeah.
And there was no contact whatsoever. Mitrovic went to ground.
The referee's had a good game.
Yeah.
Very, very good game. I think he got that decision absolutely spot on. Mitrovic just looks out on his feet, to be honest. He didn't really have the energy left to, compose himself and just toe poke, chip the ball past the keeper. Another lovely weighted pass from Sergei Milinkovic-Savic as well to set Mitrovic away.
I'm sure in the VAR bunker they had time to have a look at that, and they have decided not to inform the referee to go over to the side of the pitch and have a second chance at making the decision. Good for him, he got it right first time.
I think the referee should be the one to instigate it at all times, but unfortunately things will not work that way. I think we've seen incidences over the last couple of years actually where there's been interference from officials on the sideline. Of course, FIFA will say that is never the case, but referees seem to sometimes be communicating, certainly getting something in the ear, then they seem to make a decision belatedly. This one, I think, was the right one. No point to the spot, no penalty kick.
Campbell down the left-hand side for Costa Rica. We have 2 minutes remaining in Samara. Costa Rica 0, Serbia 1. His low cross was cleared, and it's Serbia in possession for Rukavina, the substitute. And they want to take precious seconds off the clock here. They want to seal a 1-0 win and then face Switzerland with the possibility of going through to the knockout stages. You mentioned that Mitrovic, Efren, was out on his feet. He is being replaced for the final few minutes.
Two great chances. Wasn't able to get the ball wide of Keylor Navas with enough pace on it. Costa Rican keeper made a decent save, and another opportunity to get himself off the mark on this World Cup. Not taken, fell down. Actually, to be fair to him, he didn't really appeal too much for the penalty, if at all. But a hard-working performance, as you would expect from him. He was a field with just a couple of minutes left to play.
This is a good story. Alexander Prijovic comes on, bought by Derby County from Parma when he was just 18 years of age. He just never made it at Pride Park, never made a first-team appearance. He was loaned out at Yeovil Town and Northampton Town. He has scored one international goal. It was the goal that secured qualification for the World Cup finals against Georgia. He said he was so overcome with emotion he struggled to breathe, but he plays his football now for PAOK or PAOK in Greece, and he's on for the closing stages up top for the Serbians. And here is Kostic. He has a shot left-footed and it flashes over the crossbar, and he's got his shirt in front of his face, and he feels that he should have done better there, at least have tested the goalkeeper Keylor Navas.
Right on the edge of the box once again, fed from centrally by Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, and he does have real cannon in those boots, but this one once again flies over the crossbar. not able to really make themselves put themselves in a comfortable position in these last few minutes. Serbia still hanging on to this 1-goal lead.
Encouragement here for Costa Rica. The board has just gone up and it displays the number 5 in green numerals. 5 minutes of time added on here in Samara, and we are into that now. And Costa Rica have a free kick, and they've sent everybody forward, it seems. Bolaños will take it. It's halfway inside, well, maybe closer towards the penalty area, and it's curled in, it's headed clear, falls here to the edge of the penalty area. The long shot comes in, it takes a deflection at the edge of the area, and it's smothered cleanly by Stojkovic. It was Gamboa, the Celtic fullback, who had a shot from a good 35 yards. Had it taken a deflection, that could have been awkward for Stojkovic.
That's a long, long way out. Costa Rican fans frustrated. The opening gambit at the World Cup is about to end in failure.
Bolindres with the challenge, and it's a good one. And he brings the ball forward down the left-hand side for Costa Rica. Still going, the challenge comes in from Rukavina, and the throwing goes Costa Rica's way, level with the edge of the penalty area, left-hand side. Here's Calvo, rolls it back for Duarte. Now it's Borges. Now Gamboa, time running out. They need to get the ball into the danger area. Serbia behind the ball, very organised and determined to hold on to this 1-goal lead. Here's Ruiz, tries to fight Bolaños. He fired it in too hard. Bolaños couldn't deal with it, and Milinkovic-Savic can bring the ball clear on the right touchline, but he's challenged brilliantly by Johnny Acosta, and the cross comes in left-footed towards the back post. Joel Campbell is there, and it's an excellent defensive header by Alexander Kolarov, but he concedes the corner down the Costa Rican right.
Well, that ball was swung in from left to right. Kolarov knew that he couldn't leave the ball. There was another teammate behind Joel Campbell. Heads it out for a corner kick.
We play 2 minutes of the 5 added on. A hanging centre from Bolaños. He got up well there, Gonzalez, but his header, I think, hit the back of the head of a teammate. And here come Serbia now on a 3-on-1 counter-attack. Possibilities here, oh dear me. It's wasted. Kostic, who had 2 teammates on the right-hand side of the penalty area, unmarked, and it's gone straight through to the goalkeeper.
He stumbled, Ola.
Did he?
As he was trying to swing the ball, and
what's going on here? The assistant referee, there's a bit of afters. Nemanja Matic is getting involved. Borges is in to try and calm things down.
The Costa Rica bench trying to get the ball back, and they felt that. And Nemanja Matic was holding on to it, and all of a sudden he gets pretty ugly.
Temper's afraid here at the closing stages, and they need to get on with the game here, Costa Rica. They're wasting their own time here. Oscar Ramirez, their coach, is on the edge of the technical area. Just a brief talking to from the referee to Nemanja Matic.
Yeah, ball has gone out. All of a sudden, the Costa Rica bench want to get it back in play to their players, and then Matic tries to grab the ball off one of the coaching staff of Costa Rica, and then it starts to get ugly. And really, Matic doesn't need to get involved. His side are leading. One of his teammates, substitutes, are actually saying, "Calm down. We're actually leading. What's all the fuss about?"
It was actually well dealt with by the referee in the end. And the upshot is a free kick close to the touchline on the right-hand side to be taken by Navas. But the referee perhaps has seen something else he doesn't like. He blows his whistle and prevents play. Now, I wonder if VAR is being involved. No, I don't think it is, because we haven't seen the sign. Now, you know, VAR can get involved for potential red cards. But there's nothing serious enough there, I don't think. Although he is preventing play now, he's doing that sign, is he? Wait for the whistle, he now says. It's a little confusing. So I don't think VAR is involved here. Well, he certainly hasn't done the sign, but what's he waiting for? And if he's not getting some advice from the VAR bunker. Serbia are ready to defend this. The Stajic, the Serbia coach, looks nervous, tucking his shirt into his trousers, and we are now going to play on. So nothing further, no action further required there, courtesy of VAR. The ball bouncing around in the penalty area, and it's thumped clear by the Serbian defender, only as far as Gamboa. That's a good-looking ball towards the back post. Their heads go up. It falls here to Brian Ruiz. He swings a left-footed, and then Bolaños puts it over the crossbar. Was he offside? The flag is up on the near side, and it potentially wouldn't have counted anyway. But what a chance for Ruiz. He couldn't connect with it, and then Bolaños with the second attempt. He is offside. It wouldn't have counted had he put it into the back of the net.
No, can't get that one wrong, can you? 4 yards offside after a wonderful cross actually from the right side from Gamboa, the fullback. Arguably the best cross of the game, certainly from a Costa Rican point of view. Bolaños not had a great time since he actually came on the field. He's not been able to really get himself involved in the play when he's had opportunities to put the ball in the box. Mistimed, hitting the near post, hitting the first defender.
We've had the 5 minutes of time added on. We may get a bit of extra time because of substitutions and that little melee a few moments ago. So Serbia are not there yet. Hooked forward by Alexander Kolarov. Out of play on the right-hand side in the Costa Rica half for a throw into Los Chicos. And now then, was that an elbow into the face of a Costa Rican defender by Priovic? Not so, says the referee.
Even if it is, get yourself up and stop rolling around on the ground. Your team is down with, seconds to go and you're play acting.
Absolutely no need for it whatsoever, unless, of course, he did take one flush in the face. But
you can still get up, Arlo, unless someone's just broken your jaw and you're in excruciating pain.
Well, I think the referee is getting more advice here from the VAR bunker because he's stopped play. There's a throw-in on the right-hand side. To Costa Rica, Bolaños with the ball tucked under his left arm. Time is running out, and these are nervous moments for Alexander Priovic. And let's take another look at the replay, and he does swing out an arm onto Johnny Acosta. It's not the elbow that makes contact, it's the fingers of his right hand into the face of the Costa Rican central defender. What do you think?
It's not enough to fell you, and certainly even less so to keep you on the ground for more than a second or so.
It's a hand to the face, though, Effin, isn't it? Could be construed as violent conduct.
I don't think it's a red card. I think
right, the whistle has been placed to the referee's mouth, and I think he's going to have a look at this himself. So the advice has been, it's down to you, Mr. Malang Dedu. We think there's a case here for a straight red card. This falls, of course, into the remit of VAR, and he's across on the sideline now between the benches looking at replays of the incident now. He's seen two of them. He's made his decision. He's trotting back onto the field. What is the decision going to be? It's all down now to the referee, and Priovic looks very nervous, and it's a yellow card.
Sensible. I said, referee Malang Dedu, I think, has had a very good game. Do not block your copybook right now, your World Cup first game, and flash a red unnecessarily.
Time running out, ball into the Serbian penalty area. Ivanovic nods it clear. It falls here to Priovic, who's breathing a huge sigh of relief. Thumped clear forward by Serbia, straight to Keylor Navas, and that's it. Serbia have won. Alexander Kolarov, the captain of his country, with that armband tightly round his left bicep, he punches the air. What a proud day for him. Stojevic, the goalkeeper, sinks to his knees, and they embrace as a team. All smiles, the Serbian coach Mladen Krstajic. It's his first competitive game as a manager, not least for the national team at any level. And Serbia, thanks to Kolarov's free kick in the second half, have beaten Costa Rica by 1-0. And in the upshot, Efenakoku, did they deserve it?
Absolutely, well deserved. I thought they were a more controlled side with a little bit more quality in the final third especially, and second half proved to be much more of the same. Little golden spell where actually they were already 1-0 up, and I thought they were going to sit back and just contain and try and hit Costa Rica on the counter. They didn't. Moments where they were looking for that second goal, didn't quite get it, but in the end defended well enough. Costa Rica without enough of the ball, or indeed the final delivery to their front men to be able to trouble the Costa Rican, the Serbian defence, or indeed their goalkeeper. So 1-0, I think, a tight game, but I think the Serbians are the deserved victors and get their campaign off to a nice start with 3 points.
Let's talk about that free kick once again, Effin, because it was the crucial moment, and we've just seen Alexander Kolarov. You probably heard him at home or in your cars here on 5 Live, roaring towards the cameras in glee and celebration. It was a very special moment, not just for Serbia, not just for him, but for everybody watching around the world. It was an absolutely brilliant set piece, wasn't it?
It was a stunning free kick, technically excellent. He's such a beautiful player to watch anyway. The way the guy drills the ball, the way he caresses it, the way he bends the ball for crosses and free kicks especially. He's a wonderful deliverer of the ball for teammates, and a goal really worthy of winning any match in the World Cup, from the first game to the final. And he had a good game all round actually, so for him to actually get that winning goal as a captain and making their bow, well deserved. superb delivery, superb performance really. A little bit more open than I expected. That really surprised me in the last 15 or 20 minutes. And maybe just that excitement of the opening game, has led him to play a slightly more attacking kind of football than you would expect. Don't think they would play that way against Brazil if they're leading. I can be sure of that.
Yeah.
But nice to get a goal to get us off to a great start.
Branislav Ivanovic looks absolutely delighted. Mladen Krstajic, 44 years old, he's all smiles. The Serbian coach, he says, my World Cup experience from 2006 means a lot. I know from experience what the most important thing is, and that is atmosphere. And he says for the first time in a long time there is unity in the Serbian camp, and I think we've seen, Mark Chapman, evidence of that today. A wonderful goal, worthy of winning any game at any level, by Alexander Kolarov, familiar of course to Manchester City fans. Final score, Costa Rica 0, Serbia 1. Back to you.